Let's start off with our very first conversation, which has got to do with a big video. I call it a big video in the sense that it's a video that emerged yesterday. It came online. It did show a police officer who was driving and decided to put on his video camera. While he did that, he spotted a junior colleague extorting, as it were, a commercial bus driver.
Well, is it extorting or he was collecting bribe?
It's extortion.
So, collecting bribe and extortion are two different things.
You know.
Collecting bribe, it was offered and he received it.
Okay.
Extortion, there's the use of force.
You know, why I use the word
holding
extortion?
a firearm could
Interpreted as
be
extorting, as force.
interpreted as
You are right.
extorting.
Yeah,
You are right.
because what happens is, what we're going to see in that video in a short while is that when these things happen, it's like the commercial bus drivers know that they have to give them. If you talk to these commercial bus drivers, they'll tell you, while I'm making money, I have to set aside money for police officers at checkpoints, money for Agbiru. In case
Even the everyday Nigerian boy or girl that's in Bola. If you're going out on Friday, you must arrange in your pocket because you think, I need to have cash. Let's
watch the video.
Let's start it again from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes, give him your money back. Yes. Stop.
We promise you that's not how it sounded. You did not say give him the money back. Yeah, but
We'll work on that.
Yeah, literally what he did, if you watch the video clearly, like Joe explained, the police officer was driving, the senior one turned on his camera, saw the junior police officer just collected something quietly into his pocket. And he just called him. He wound down and said, yes, give him the money back. And then if you watch the extended version of the video, he chastised him even further, asking him, why did you collect money from him? And the police officer, in a bit to defend himself, tried to explain that, no, I did not force him, or he gave it to me. Say, why did you do that? Basically trying to say that, you know, this is an unacceptable practice. And it's become an issue because the Nigerian police, unfortunately, for the longest time, has been known to receive bribe on the road. Now, that's not to say that all Nigerian police officers do that, but there's almost a subconscious expectation that when they are telling you to park and they're asking you for papers and doing stop and searches,
especially on the highways,
they want to collect something. So people commended this man, saying, you know, at least if one person stands up to him like this, if each one can reach one, then each one can teach one. That the sanitization that we're expecting to see in the Nigerian police will not come from the outside, will come from the inside, where men of integrity will stand up to this bad behavior, call it out for what it is, and ensure that the dignity of the Nigerian police is restored to what it is. Because the truth is, the police is working. There's so many good Nigerian police officers. There's so many amazing feats that the police have achieved, but unfortunately, it is small, the little foxes, you know, that spoil the vine. I would call them these ones, the ones who stand on the road to collect bribe. So yeah, kudos to that senior police officer. But is that enough?
And it's not enough, and it's high time we do something about it. You know, the things that anomalies that we've normalized in Nigeria just because of ease of, you know, movement, and you really don't want to waste your time. That's why a lot of these commercial drivers, when they resist, they have their time wasted, or they would just delay them for no reason, look for one issue or the other. That is, so some of them just pay to facilitate movement.
Especially when you have flashy cars now.
I've been on a road trip from Lagos to Accra, Ghana, and anytime you go through that Badagry axis, and this is not the Nigerian police alone, it's Nigerian customs, NDLEA, uniformed personnel, every 100 meters, less than 100 meters, there's a checkpoint, and this road transport workers, the private ones that apply into country, they don't even bother. I'm sure they passed on the cost to the consumers because they have envelopes at every junction and it's still happening up till today. There are YouTube videos of foreigners that did the West Africa drive, and it's appalling. There was an American couple that drove from Lagos all the way to Anambra. The checkpoints, it was really messy, and you can't say the authorities don't know anything about it. They've just turned it to what we term in local parlance work chop. That is where you work, that's where you chop, and it's bad for our image. It's bad for security. It's a terrible situation that has been going on for years, decades. So, who's going to bring an end to it? Because it's almost a culture.
It is a culture.
It is a culture.
Mr.
It is a culture.
Yeah.
How we know it's
You
a
say
culture?
who's going to bring an end to it? I say Mr. Kayode.
I'm not sure he's ready to fight.
It's a culture, because how we know it's a culture is like saying whenever there's no light and then they bring light, we all shout up NEPA. Up NEPA is a culture. Same way this is a culture. Since I was born, I mean, as a kid up until now, what we've been seeing back then, just like we're about to show to you, or we showed a glimpse to you in the video, is the same thing we see till today.
It's terrible.
Where you pass and the police say, and now it's only that they kind of like, let's use the for want of words, they kind of like funkified, you know, it's when they
Anything for happy weekend.
happy weekend.
Anything
you
for
know,
the
it's
boys.
just happy weekend, sir.
You know,
happy
the
weekend
most
and so
interesting
on.
thing
And then it makes you lose. Do you know what it is to beg? It means you're losing some level of your dignity. And then they normalize this. It's really bad for the uniform. It brings a lot of disrespect to the uniform. Because if you go to other countries, and it's not about, Sena climbs. Let's compare ourselves with Ghana, for example. You hardly see this sort of things in Ghana, in Uganda, for example. It really doesn't.
So there's
happen.
culture.
So we can do better.
There's culture, but there's also the fact that they are not paid well. They're not paid properly.
That's not an excuse.
I'm not using that to excuse. However,
it's a voluntary service.
And
Nobody conscripted
do you know how many people went
into the police.
into the police force because they did not see any other?
I've had this discussion on radio when I said, people at the airports, they are frontline. Your airports is like a footmat to the country. It's the first impression and last impression you get in the country. So they shouldn't be asking you, Auntie, what did you bring for us?
I'm not also trying
to.
to.
There were people called in and said they don't pay them well. Who forced you to take?
So
that
I'm
job?
also not trying to hold brief for the police, but you see the way that we say that the government, the people have the government that they deserve, or the government is a representation of the people. I think that the police is also a representation of the people. And I'll say this because that culture is not just a culture with the Nigerian police. Like you mentioned, you go to the airport, you go to use the bathroom, somebody gives you tissue paper,
you
and
expect
she's smiling and waiting for you to give her something. Somebody helps you move your trolley. They are waiting for you to give them something.
These days, you are even skeptical of greeting.
Yes.
Ordinary
Once you park
good morning.
Morning, bro.
Bro, Alpha. People are waiting for you. So I think it's a culture that we need to do something about. It's an underlying thing in our culture that we need to remove. That thing where people feel like,
we really need a
serious.
I have a friend that works in an international development agency. She's American, and she said, South Sudanese people are so proud. You go to a refugee camp. These are people that have lost everything. They still invite you to their tent.
Yeah, you have to take it
to
a cup of coffee.
Yes.
Holding yourself with such high esteem and
hospitality.
You see able-bodied men, just because you said park here. It's not even your parking, or just because you happen to be there, you expect me to buy bread. Yesterday I had buy bread for me. Me say I don't chop bread. Buy bread for me. I don't want money. It was even giving condition. I don't want money. Just buy bread for me.
One of those people are once they stand outside at the eatery, it's like you have to buy bread for them. Or the ones that can't you remember during the fuel scarcity era where some filling stations were now selling meat pie before they would give you fuel? They tell you, buy meat pie. Yes. During fuel scarcity, we've been through a lot. So I would say it's a holistic change that we need, not just with the police, but of course, let's take reactions from
Not Olive, buy bread for me.
Fola Jowan Nelson says, government are not ready to reform police force, or government is not ready to reform police force. When they are ready, they will compulsorily this English is...
He meant they will make body cams mandatory and compulsory.
Yes, I'm just trying to phrase it better. Okay, they will make body cams compulsory for officers on patrol or on duty. Once your body cam is tampered with and you're accused of a crime, you're automatically guilty. They won't do that because they're using them for dirty jobs. Well, there's that. There's also the fact that...
I'm not even sure it can.
I don't even know.
Did you see the last elections? Beavers, they uploaded bathroom slippers.
Someone uploaded his selfie. Beavers. Personally,
So is this people you want to give body count?
I don't have issues with these ones. I see it as a tip since they are underpaid and it's not compulsory.
No.
The extortion I have issues with are those first ones where they kidnap people and demand for a certain amount of money.
That's the highest level.
Well, Pedro Isosa says that.
I don't agree
That's
with
the highest
anyone.
one.
Well, this one says not moved, not impressed if there's no strict penalty, not just camera gimmick. That's what this one says. Ochendo Ifechukwu says, can we have these good senior officers be on patrol, leaving their cozy offices? I'm ashamed of the current breed of policemen, especially on our southeastern roads. That's what Ochendo Ifechukwu says. And then the next tweet from Larry GR, it says, give him the money back or he should be arrested so others will learn. Nothing meaningful here and can't change the corruption. Nigerians, you do, you damned. You don't, you are damned.
He's saying consistency. That officer is not going to be there 24/7.
But he
and
did
he's
something.
not going to check all the 1,000 checkpoints.
But at least in the course of
still
his driving, he's doing something.
I agree.
So now this man that he told to return that money, the next time a driver passes,
He'll be skeptical.
He will be skeptical. He would think twice
You
before
only
he
collect
decides.
money when it's back commercial buses.
All that one you're saying doesn't change anything.
No, but what Gbenga said is valid because we're not going to the root cause. We're treating the symptoms.
That's it, and I agree. I agree. We're just treating the symptoms. The root cause is what we know, and it's the same thing. Reform the police, which many have said the police needs a reform. And if we look at it in totality, we kind of like think the same, that it should be reformed.
Yeah,
Reform the police.
it's overdue.
Police officers should not be buying their uniforms and their shoes
Their kids,
and so on.
yes.
They
And then
should
they
be
shouldn't be
well
crying
remunerated.
that they've
Living
been paid
conditions.
mega sums. Just
Pensions also.
pensions.
So it's not just reforming the police, also
There's a
doing
lot.
away with the culture of bribery. And it's not just at the police. If you're watching this, those people who have to pay just because you need, or you ask someone to pay because you want to bring their file to the top, you're not different from these police officers who stand on the road to collect
I
the
also think minimum entry, regardless of officer,
But you know this-
leader, or other ranks, should be
Even in
brackets.
schools back then, university back then, at the front, the alpha. Oh yeah.
handouts.
Oh yeah. Bring it before. What do you have? Bring
don't
it. You look at it.
yeah.
Oh, guy, you're not ready.
Anyway,
It's a lot. Anyway.
it is a lot.
But
yeah,
it's good.
Let's move to our next story. And this story, very interesting one there. Now, T.G. Omori, popular director, video director, very talented one at that, but who's had to, unfortunately, be treating kidney issues. He's had to be on dialysis, and he shared his experience talking about how much he's paid so far in cost of dialysis. And there were reactions to that has now sparked a broader conversation as to healthcare, in particular, the cost of dialysis treatment in Nigeria. Dialysis is about 100K plus per session, he says. Sometimes you need 3 sessions in a week. Minimum wage is 70K. Knowing these facts brought me tears in the hospital because no hope for the common man. This was the main tweet, and there were reactions and responses to this particular tweet. So let's see the response to this tweet. No, this is not the immediate response. There was a Boala tweet, I believe, or someone else. Yes. Daniel Boala says, Ashiwaju cares. President Tinubu expands healthcare access with subsidized dialysis. But this wasn't the main one that caused the reaction, but we're just going to take it. President Bola Tinubu has approved a landmark subsidy to ease the cost of kidney dialysis for Nigerians. With this intervention, the price of each dialysis session has been reduced from 50,000 to just 12,000, bringing relief to thousands of citizens battling kidney-related diseases. He then goes ahead to list the ones that have this access. He said this subsidy has already been implemented in federal medical hospitals, and then he lists Federal FMC, Ebute Metta, Jabi, Abuja, University College Hospital, Ibadan. And then he goes on to list University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, the FMC Owerri, FMC Abeokuta, FMC Lagos. And he lists a number of all the hospitals that are, that are involved in this. It says more federal medical centers and teaching hospitals will be added before the end of the year to widen access nationwide. It will be recalled that last year, President Tinubu also approved free cesarean sections for pregnant women in federal hospitals, a bold step aimed at boosting maternal health and reducing preventable maternal deaths. Together, these measures demonstrate the president's renewed hope agenda in action, ensuring that no Nigerian is denied health care because of cost. But this isn't the main tweet that caused an issue.
Yeah, so let's just go into it.
The main tweet that he responded to him after he put up
To
the
Mr.
cost.
Boyle.
Yes.
Had to be from
No, not to Mr. Boyle, to TG Omori.
Yeah, when he put
Yes.
that up, the special assistant on social media
Yes.
to the president, who was appointed, I'm talking about D. Olusegun.
Yeah, what was his actual tweet?
Actually came out under T.J. Mori's statement and tweet there. He came out and then said that in federal medical centers, all around the 6 geopolitical zones, dialysis costs 12,000 naira per session under this administration. Please, he told T.J. Mori, please verify. And
then there was a response.
There was a response from another person who happened to be the bearded doctor. And he said, this is not true, sir. I just verified from a federal medical center in Southwest, and dialysis isn't 12K. First session is around 100K, and subsequent ranges from 70,000. Is this a new initiative? And then he went ahead to say, there is no federal medical center in Nigeria that does dialysis for 12,000 naira. Let's be honest and state facts. And this led to further conversations from every other Nigerian. In short, even T.J. Mori came out and made it clear that, listen, that amount you're calling, it's impossible. It's not what it is. And then you have people from different states where you verify that, oh, it's 12,000. People came out and said, no, that's not true.
So I believe the president gave an instruction
yes, August 11.
Implementation has not kicked it.
Okay, so I think, again, like I would say, two truths can coexist. That truly, T.J. Mori is paying 100,000 or almost 100,000 for dialysis weekly, and not just T.J. Mori, tons of Nigerians who have to get dialysis pay that much weekly, or maybe for every treatment, not weekly. I also believe that the president did give up, because earlier in the year, this information was rolled out, where the president had said that they were reducing the cost of dialysis, so basically giving a subsidy on dialysis treatment to the tune of 12,000 naira. So yes, both of them are true. However, the president's subsidy was not rolled out completely nationwide. Yes, in the 6 geopolitical zones, but in 11 hospitals. Can 11 hospitals cater to the hundreds of thousands of people who need dialysis treatment? So yes, it's a positive step in the right direction, but might feel like a drop in the ocean. Because if you also check the reports of people under that comment section, there are those who agreed that they had benefited from the 12,000 naira dialysis subsidy treatment. Yeah, the subsidy given by the federal government. However, there are also those who had said their experiences. I saw someone who said that the first dialysis treatment is 100,000 naira, subsequent 170,000. So we agreed that it's a range between 70,000 to 100,000 on the average for Nigerians. So he was speaking from his own perspective, from what he knew to be true. He wasn't lying. It's just that that's not the reality of everyone in Nigeria.
So then again, that brings about the question. I think August 11 this year, the president has said subsidy on all dialysis about 76%, which means from 100,000, it's coming down to about 12,000 naira per dialysis. Some need three in a week. And while T.J. Mori said that, and he was actually corrected by the special assistant on social media, you saw a lot of Nigerians coming out for him. And the reason is because, one, the reality mentioned on paper and in the print or newspapers, and we as journalists, where we do say, compared to the reality on ground, are completely quite different. And they're different because a cross-section of Nigerians, if you take a poll, are saying that 12,000 naira does not exist. However, some medical practitioners have gone ahead to mention that 12,000 naira only exists in these federal hospitals because there's only one machine that offers that price, and only one, and that one cannot cater to the number of people that come. So therefore, they need to also go ahead and ensure they get their treatments from other machines. But whether we go back and forth, in as much as we're still going to take reactions from Nigerians, what we're saying is, it could be one, like Oliver said, the president has given the direction,
and
has mentioned the command and said, listen,
implement
this, let's help Nigerians who are battling with their health crisis to be able to manage themselves. The reality is that the implementation is not where it should be.
I mean, my take would be,
that's it.
It's a good thing that this conversation is out there. It's very important. We're talking about healthcare, and it's made us to reassess the president's promise. I mean, the president, in his, I'm sure when he gave this directive, he didn't know the nitty-gritty of the issues with implementation, with the number of dialysis machines they have, the number of people that have access to it, and all of that. So right now, the Ministry of Health needs to go back to the presidency, or they need to have rethink. They need to overhaul of the dialysis system in all federal medical centers and general hospitals and make them widely available to Nigerians. They need to also increase the number of dialysis machines they have and make this subsidy holistic. I mean, when we're buying petrol on the subsidy, it was the same price. It was widely available across the country. So if you're going to do subsidy for dialysis, make it readily available for all Nigerians in need of this dialysis.
I agree. But let's take a look at some of the reactions very quickly and see what Nigerians are saying, how they reacted to that back and forth between the talented music director and, of course, the essay to the president. Olusegun Amuneke. See how he typed verify with full confidence, telling lies and deceiving people. Well, cute Cassie, let's be honest, he did make a statement and saying verify, but I think he was speaking off the edges that the president had, gone ahead to approve that all dialysis should be reduced from XYZ amount, which is 100,000, 70,000 to 12,000 naira. But then again, which a federal government, only one federal government machine for 12K that was provided in UBTH, and that's it. UBTH, and we have 50 plus patients waiting for dialysis every day. Chronic kidney disease and its prevalence is something the government should be concerned about. Thank God for private hospitals that are venturing into hemodialysis. That is why most patients are surviving. Dialysis is too expensive, not just because of how expensive the machine is, but because of the consumable that needs to be imported. And we all know that gist with importation in Nigeria. Federal hospitals are sending their patients outside to do dialysis because they don't even have machines to do it, because all the machines are faulty. Every day someone dies because they can't access the machine or do not have the financial aid. How many federal hospitals have the SLED machine? Then she goes ahead to say rubbish. This is coming from a place of pain, by the way, and I think we do understand how she feels. Who doesn't know by now that there are paid people currently whose job description is simply to spread lies? I don't know. Are you talking about the people who are commenting in the group, or I don't know? Anyway, Niekan says, thank God for the awareness. Kidney disease patients are really suffering in this country. Healthcare in general. No coastal road. No, coastal road is more important. Nigeria is currently designed not to benefit the common man. And let's put a pause to this. I think if you look at it with a different eye, you might also try to get the sense of what Nathan is saying, that there seems to be more important issues to deal with in the country. And we've also mentioned it here. We've talked about the doctors going on strike. The good news about that is that the federal government has decided to eventually meet with the doctors and see what they can do, have a round table and sort out their differences. So we're happy with that. So we hope that the NMA and the likes will definitely come back and give us a feedback on what's really happened. And then again, you have the health sector, which we've mentioned as well. Remember, we also had a drawing board on that, which is very important. But
critical and important, because all this infrastructure.
Yeah, but you wonder
who will use it if they're not.
Exactly, if they're not alive. If you're not alive, how would you drive? How would you
I
use
want
the
to also
road?
make reference to one of the tweets had talked about inadequate machines. And I think that's very important. So when this was announced earlier in the year, the Punch newspaper had done the research to analyze this. And in part of the research, they talked about how, yes, it was with good intentions that the presidency has said that this dialysis treatment will be subsidized to the tune of 12,000 naira per session. However, the inadequacy of machines will hugely frustrate the possibility of this happening. For example, in Nigeria, there are about 25 million people projected to be living with kidney issues. And of these 25 million people, 230,000 needed treatments like dialysis or transplants. Now, imagine having 354 machines in the whole of the country to cater to 230,000 people that are living with dialysis, that need dialysis in Nigeria. So at the end of the day, is it a great initiative? Yes, absolutely great initiative by the president. However, the applicability of it is another question. How realistic is it to say that dialysis is actually 12,000 naira per session? I'm glad that
you don't have enough.
Yes, we don't have enough machines. So I'm glad that TJ Mori brought it up and that this has sparked the conversation. What this should do is not to be used as a cheap way to score political points.
Yeah.
It should be a means for us to reflect as a
politics.
people. If, just like Bola and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government genuinely care about Nigerians like they often say that they do, it's a time to go back and introspect and say, what can we do to ensure that this policy is being implemented nationwide? It's one thing to say that you're rolling out subsidized dialysis to the 6 geopolitical zones, to 11 hospitals with plan to unroll it to more by the end of the year. However, if you have only 354 machines in the whole country to cater to 230,000 people, how applicable is that?
All of you even going as far as saying 352, it's not up to.
354.
54. It's
according
not
to a research by The Punch.
Yeah, according to research by The Punch, but it's not up to.
Sometime in March, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not up to, apparently.
And some
because,
of them
because what they've
are
seen,
definitely faulty.
and that's what some of
Even if it's 354 in a country,
It's grossly inadequate.
It's grossly
That's what I was saying, a country of over 200
If they've done
something
their
billion.
research and
Yeah.
Punch newspaper comes to tell us that it's 354, that really is a drop in the ocean.
So this is where communication really stands. I mean, I wish Dan Ogwala can buy out time to join us on this conversation, because sometimes one thing that people have discussed heavily about this administration is the fact that they always say they're so quick to defend, and it's starting to look that way.
But
the
you
reason is
understand
because
from Mr. Boileau's perspective,
Yes.
it's his job. And on paper, the president has given that
we agree.
instruction.
And it's not just on
but he
paper.
didn't just get the breakdown, the details of implementation.
We agree.
Which is lacking in his communication.
We agree. So that's where we're going to that. It's his job to talk. It's his job to speak for the presidency and interface. But I always say this, there are ways you interface, Gbenga. There are ways to simply say, okay, you've come out. Oh, okay, by the way, the president did this. These are the hospitals. However, the president, or we have decided that between so and so, we will look into this and ensure that there's something called assuring the people, because people who are talking on ground, you can't take a cross section of Nigerians on all socials who are saying the same thing, and they're even telling you, come and verify it for yourself.
Is also
come, they're telling you, come and verify. So I think one thing the administration needs to work on, I mean, it's just a suggestion, because everybody has his own, decision to make. One thing they need to work on is, while you make policies, follow through.
Exactly. It doesn't
just
stop at
follow
making
through the
policies.
Yeah,
right?
just follow through.
The full picture when it comes to real transformation is not just releasing the rightful policies, but ensuring that these policies are implemented and followed through, like we've said here. But we'll continue to talk about this. Let's share with you now what our top stories this morning are on Breakfast Central.